Hello and good evening, everybody out there, and welcome to the show tonight of Paranormal Sisterhoods. And we have got an exciting lineup tonight. We're going to walk into the show and then give the floor to our very special guest, which is Mercedes. Now, I want to get this right, Mercedes. You're here with me. Mercedes, Lucke, Benedict, correct?
Yes.
All right. Okay. Well, let's get the business over with. And we want, first of all, we want to welcome you guys for being with us. Thank you for being with us tonight. And no, it's not really cold where we're at, but we're all wearing our beanies in honor of our guest, Mercedes, because she loves her little beanies and we think she's just adorable. And we all had our beanies. So we thought, okay, we're going to do the beanies in honor of Mercedes tonight.
Yeah, right.
So excuse the way that some of us look.
It was hilarious. I didn't expect
But
it. All of a sudden,
first of all, we want to thank our sponsors. And first and foremost, that is Webb Radio Network and Stan and Teresa Fikes for doing everything that they do behind the scenes and bringing us out there to the audience so you can listen to us and see us. And then the second one is Rogue Turtle. She is a fantastic friend of mine, just dear to my heart. And she owns a metaphysical shop for anything that you might want metaphysically in your life, crystals, gemstones, jewelry, you name it. Erin has it, and she is in Enterprise, Alabama, at 202 South Main Street, I think. Just blew it. It's the beanie.
It's the bean. It's tight. It's tight.
Yeah, I'll get that and say it again at the end of the show. But thank you, sponsors, for being with us. And Camp 31 just signed on as a sponsor. They are in Bruton, Alabama. And if you've never gone to eat at Camp 31, you're missing out because the food is fabulous. I mean, anything that you could want there, buffet every day. So much food, you're going to need a wheelbarrow to get out of there, okay?
Right.
All
And
right.
it's good.
Mary, is there anything that you wanted to bring forward before we get into our fantastic show tonight?
I'm just so excited to be here with you, Mercedes. I was, I was kind of starstruck. I read your bio. I read some things about you, and I have some questions for you. But I wanted to start off first by kind of not recapping, but I want people to understand the last show that we did. It was on the Miami alien
Encounter.
whatever it was. Yeah. And I want people to understand what we were trying to do in that show was engender conversation. We were just trying to bring people out to say, maybe it's this, maybe it's that. I'm going to say Stan does an amazing job of saying, it's not necessarily the opinions of Webb Radio. Well,
Yes.
That was not necessarily the opinions of the ladies on the show, the sisters. And I wanted people to understand what we are striving to do here is just to engender conversation, to bring people to a different perspective so that we can look at other people's perspectives. And
Right.
that's kind of just the thought that I want to leave you with regard to the last show.
Yeah, the show is to bring different topics to the audience out there and kind of to bring on the light bulb, so to speak,
Yes,
to get you
yes.
to wondering about such things that
Yes.
that we have not studied yet, we have not found as far as creature wise. Just open your heart and your mind and come with us on this spiritual journey. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, we love the questions. We love for you guys to be in the radio show with us and just give us your opinion. We value your opinions, So yeah. We do apologize, Mercedes, tonight because one sister is sick. That would be Sylvia. Could not join us tonight because there's 4 of us total. And girl, we cannot get Sister Sandy off the cruise ship long enough to come home and do a show with us. How long has
Right.
she been gone now, Mary? About a year?
12 years. Yeah, a couple of years, I think. Actually, no, she's That's a running joke because when the sisters get together, we'll plan a 2-hour tour, and it's like Gilligan's Island. We're just there forever. It's like we're there for weeks, and we'll joke about it. How long have we been together? Like 8 years or something. Anyway,
Yeah.
but no, Sandy is in Panama and is having an amazing trip, and we want her home though. We're ready for her to be home now.
I am clipping her bird wings when she gets back. I'm not letting her back out.
Aw,
She's in trouble.
My
must be
turn
having
next.
fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
then this one here, Mercedes, is leaving in March. And guess where she's going?
Where?
Ireland. I know.
Ireland.
I know.
Oh,
I want to crawl up in her suitcase and go with her.
wow.
That's just
This
nuts.
is number 2.
Yeah.
Wow.
Second time she's going to Ireland. I'm
Yeah.
like,
That would be awesome.
I want to live there, Mercedes. I want to live there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was that? There was a great movie about, it was about how they have that thing where the women can ask the men to marry them on a certain day.
Oh, P.S. I love you.
I don't think it was that one. It was something
No,
else. I can't remember. It's got that little one.
leap
Little
year.
red leap year. Yes.
leap
Oh,
year. I
Leap
saw that
year.
one.
That's
I
a
Yeah.
good one
love.
too. Yeah.
Oh, I
Yeah.
love that movie, and I love
Yeah.
every place in Ireland. It's so
Yep.
beautiful.
Of course, I
Wow.
love P.S. I Love You. And then my second favorite is, of course, Outlander. I got into that long series, and man, I tell you, it's some good stuff.
Who
Real
turned you on to
rough,
that?
right?
I have a lot.
All righty. Are you girls ready? Are you guys and girls ready out there? If you come in and happen to catch the show, this is, let me reintroduce her, is Mercedes Lucke Benedict. And let me tell you guys, she is a force to be reckoned with as a female. I read her itinerary of everything that she has done. And I asked her just before the show, before we signed on, I said, girl, where's the time for you? What do you do for time for yourself? And she said she really didn't realize and remember that she had done everything that she will talk to you about tonight. But just let's see, let me go, hold on just a second here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 on the front page. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 altogether, but it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 things on the back page. Whew, I'll let her, Mary, if you want to tell the audience about all that. If you didn't write it all down, I did, but it's a long list. I figured that we would waste the show on everything that Mercedes done and
No.
not get to talk to her. But
Right.
guys, let me tell you, such an impressionable young woman, and I say young because she's a lot younger than we are, but and we're not going to tell our age or anything like that. So,
Nope.
but welcome to the show, Mercedes. It is just a pleasure to meet you, doll.
Thank you. What an honor to thank
You know,
you. I just feel, I don't know. It's so
it's
amazing.
our honor. Yeah, it's our honor to have you. And we all did the beanies tonight in honor of Mercedes. So,
I love the beanies, and it's like, well, out in this cabin, there is no heater. I have a little heater,
oh no.
and it's just, so like when I'm out here doing my show, I'm usually kind of cold, so I put the beanie on just to make
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's okay with us. We love it. We think you're just as cute as a speckled puppy in a red wagon wearing them. So,
You
well,
guys are
tell us a
great.
little bit about yourself, sweetie.
Well, I do have a long list of things that I think you found like on my website or IMDb Pro
I
or
did.
whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
whatever that's like. IMDb. And I didn't know about IMDb until a year ago when I learned from Kadrosha Ona Carol when I started kind of connecting with her, and she goes like, "Do you have an IMDb page or whatever?" And I'm like, "What's that?" So
Yeah.
like when I used to be an actress and well, all that, they didn't have those things. like that. So I didn't know there was anything. So it was fun because then I was able to gather up all the things that I had done and put them on there. And that's what I was telling you girls, because I hadn't really seen all the list of things I had really done, like the movies or all that, and I'd never really seen it put together like that, where it's like I could get credits for these things, just because I was on that or something. So it was a great experience to see all my work put on that IMD thing. And I guess that's important for people in the business, so
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
Yeah.
so I learned all that, but I don't know. So a long time ago, I had abilities, like as a kid. I believe I was very intuitive, but I think there was things that were to shut that down. And so one of the things I loved more than anything was singing and writing songs. And so I kind of grew into being that. And that's what I kind of focused on in my early 20s. And also I wanted to be an actress and things like that. So uh my husband, the other husband I had, well, he was a wonderful person, and we had like a family band. We had
Oh, cool.
yeah, so I had a whole band that I toured um Arizona. I performed in California on the coast for the Save the Dolphins.
Ah,
So wrote songs for the Save the Dolphins and performed them live. And then we did the circuit of actually the circuits for the Army bases here, the Air
yeah.
Force bases here.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So it was really great. So that was my band. And so if you see some of the music that I have, I don't know if you see it. So I've got all my music out now again. So
Cool.
it was kind of put on a hold for a while, but I now it's like all of a sudden I was able to take all the music that I had recorded and done and written and performed, and then I'm getting to redo it and like recreate it with my own video production company.
Cool deal.
And so like yeah, so let's go backwards a little bit.
Yeah.
So I was doing all that and acting. So you'll see on there the resume, like I was with Walker, Texas Ranger behind the scenes, but then I also did all this different acting, a lot of theater. I love theater and all that.
Yep.
And music, dancing and music and musicals. So that was what I thought was going to be my life. I thought all of that was going to be my life. I really
Hmm.
did. I never saw another life. But there was another plan, obviously. So
Yes,
I
definitely.
I went through a horrible divorce, which just almost it was just terrible. But it was so terrible that it put me in. I was so depressed, and I spiraled. But what happened was because of that, that was almost like when I was being saved. I was being helped from outside forces.
Yep.
And so there were two, in order to get me out of a very bad relationship, like a abusive, physically, every kind of abusive relationship. This crazy car accident happened, and it
Mm.
almost killed me, and I couldn't walk. I lost my rental house. I was going to massage school, and because I wanted to still be a singer. I wanted my radio show. I wanted to do all of the stuff I did. So I was trying to be a massage therapist to do that.
Hmm.
But what happened was I got in this car accident, and I could I couldn't walk. I thought my God,
Oh.
horrible. Like it
Mm.
was like just I lost everything. I've lost everything many times, but this one was one of the worst. And so wasn't long after that car accident that it got me away from this relationship that I
Hmm.
was in. it just severed it. And so I started to heal with, because I was singing around a property that had this amazing doctor. And I was singing just on the property. I was singing with the cousin. So,
Right.
but this man who I ended up working for almost like 16 years, this man was an amazing healer, medical physician. It was this beautiful place in Tucson mountains.
Mm.
And he kind of said, let me try to help, because they had a body jaw alignment program. So this body jaw alignment program I took part in, and I started to heal. And
Wow.
yeah, but it was more than that. It was he's intuitive, he can see. And so what had happened with the very first car accident was, all of a sudden I was able to see inside the body. I could see inside. All of a
Oh.
sudden, like, I was given these gifts, like, I didn't know. I was so scary. I didn't know what they were. I didn't understand it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but he kind of mentored me through that. And then lo and behold, about 5 months later, I was in another death defying, like near death. Like, I felt my body leave my body. My
Oh,
body,
wow.
my spirit leave my body both times. I
Yep.
did. I
Yep.
was like, I should have died. And it was so traumatic. So the next one was a rolling of the cars, like 16 times or 15 times. My little boy was in the car.
Oh, no.
But I felt this thing come over me, and
Mm-hmm.
my son. I felt this cocoon, like that.
Yeah.
And we were saved. I mean, the whole car, the windows were just, everything was like, there's no way, I don't know how we lived. So it was that moment. It was then that I'm like, oh my, something's really happening with me. And so I really kind of stepped into this new life ahead of me. And I began to, it was like I was just being told, you need to do this. Like, you need to really
Mm-hmm.
be help. Like, so he helped me kind of continue healing. But then
Mm-hmm.
I started working for them. I got my license. I went back to school, finished it, got my license, started to work for the doctor. And that's when I took on, like, working with people from all over the world. They came there all over the world to have him work on them. But I was the main, I was a therapist. So I worked on them for most of the hour, and he worked on them. But it was like mainly me, like all the time, me. And so I
Yeah.
had this amazing thing. Like, I went from a singer, songwriter, actress to like trying to figure out a life. But it was like all of a sudden I went completely different life. And so
Mm.
I ended up getting a radio show, to kind of keep my foot back in the water. So I had a really neat show on Jolt Radio in Tucson.
Yep.
And so that was really fun. I had a radio show on BBS radio, but it was, there came a point in time when I was trying to do all of it, and I couldn't, and have my son, raise my son on my own, and all this stuff. So I felt like I was to focus and step away from the acting and the singing and any of that, and just
Yeah.
focus on the new life, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it was the right choice. And I just began being part of this community of healing and helping people, and with the things that I was given. And then my doctor helped me to understand what I was doing. It helped kind of, it was amazing. It was just amazing. So we ended that in last, I think March. He retired.
Mm.
So, so if we go back to the pandemic, so kind of what happened was, when the pandemic hit, I was told I couldn't go to work,
Yep.
because they closed,
Yeah.
everything, as we all know. And so, we're here in the haunted house, we have haunted property, and it just was escalating and escalating. But what I decided to do then was to, if I couldn't have others help me with my music, because I really wanted to try to do the music again, I knew I had to train myself. So
Yeah.
I trained myself during that pandemic. I had some help with my son, my older son, and he kind of showed me how to do all this stuff. And so I never thought you would never catch me behind the camera ever. I was always like front of the camera. So I ended up being able to just create this stuff, and people started like, what are you doing? I'm like, oh, I'm just creating stuff. And so people started liking it. And I'm like, well, I started having people ask me to do that for them. And then I started making my own music videos and my everything. So, and then the show. So it's kind of like I've had this interesting road. And and the fun thing is like I've taken control of what I do. So like I don't have to wait for somebody else to help me. I
Right.
do most of everything I do, and it's very powerful feeling.
Yes.
Because
Very
like
empowering.
when you live with a bunch of people that are really creative, but they have other things to do, or they're not really wanting to do what I'm wanting to do, or so it's like, okay, I feel like that was the one of the neatest things probably I've done. Is it That one didn't come that easy to me. The other things kind of came easy, but this one, so it's so everything I'm kind of doing now is because I really trained for 2 years while I was, while we were all here. It was, yeah. So I don't know if any of that answers your questions about what I do with my life.
It does. It brings on a lot of questions, but the one thing that my mind and my gut, I guess you would call it, or my spirit guides tells me that you've come a long spiritual journey, but your journey is far from over. And it's a very broad road that you are traveling because of all the gifts that you contain. Does that make sense?
Yes.
You've got much more coming your way, baby, because I'm in my mind's eye as I'm talking to you and listening to you. I'm in tuning myself to you, and I'm seeing things just coming this way, just coming full force. And you're
Okay.
like standing there and you're kind of like dumbfounded at everything that's coming. And I see you reaching out and grabbing as much as you can in order to fulfill your spiritual journey. Girl, you are a force to be reckoned with. I mean, you definitely are. God, when He created you and sent you here to your parents, he double, triple dipped you with all the blessings and stuff that you're still walking into.
Yeah.
And it's a hard road. I mean, I relate to you in some things because I grew up a pastor's daughter, and my mother and my father were both in the pastoral field. And I sang in church, of course, because me and mom and dad, we were like this threesome. We were just all into it. And I was doing everything I could as a child growing up to help mom and dad. And I sang at church and everything growing up. Then I got out and got a husband and got kids and stuff. And I loved music just like you do. I still love music to this day. And mom and dad weren't too happy about what I chose, but I chose to be out in the world and started singing in this band and that band, rock bands, country bands, all kinds of different genres of music. And I did that for 35 years.
Oh,
Oh yeah, yeah, I loved it. I loved being on stage and singing. Music was my life. And then I had several chances to walk into my spiritual journey on this planet, and I chose not to because I didn't want to do that. I wanted to do the music. The music was in my heart, and that's what I wanted to do. And just here recently, a few years back, I started the team that I have is Shadow Chasers Paranormal, and got into the paranormal world. And that world kind of pulled me away from music.
mm,
And so here I am today, still working with the paranormal world, but I pick and choose cases, and then I've joined up with the sisters. Mary and I actually have known each other since sixth grade. So
Thank
she's
you.
been, yeah, she's been along with me on the journey. And
That's
now here we are with the Paranormal Sisterhood podcast show.
right.
So it's kind of, you have to, I guess, let the spirit guides guide you and your heart guide you. And you just pick and choose the things that you feel are the best for your life at that time.
And, it makes me wonder, what the spiritual attachment is with musicians, with singers, with music itself and the spirit. It's
Yep.
like so many people that I know that are involved in spiritual things. I mean,
Mhm.
music is such a thing. And for me, it was that. And it was also acting. I did, a lot of
Yep.
community theater and
Isn't
stuff.
this
So,
crazy? You did.
yeah, I did a lot of community theater. So, anyway,
Well,
so it was
you know
great.
what I think it is I think before I realized that I was like being channeled through,
Mhm.
I had a lot of personalities. I mean, I wasn't like crazy personalities, but I had a lot of characters in me. And I just assumed that I just thought that, oh, I'm good at characters.
Right.
I can change and I could get up on stage and I can do this or that. Because I was Madonna impersonator and Marilyn impersonator for a long time. And it
Oh, I
felt
can see the Maryland. Yeah.
and Madonna
Definitely.
now, I don't know, I'm not even want to talk about her anymore. But I still love my Marilyn person,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's kind of like I feel like that parts of the spirit they come through, and I definitely believe with music. So
Yeah.
I would, and you might feel this way too if you were a songwriter. But I
Yeah.
usually wrote 3 songs at one time. So 1, 2, 3. I wrote three songs every time, always 3. And a lot of these songs, they'll just be downloaded to me. I'll wake up in the night and I could hear the whole song with the orchestra and everything was all done.
Yep.
So, and the
Yes.
songs I wrote would be played out in my life, like as I didn't know they weren't happening in my life at certain times, but they would happen. So it was almost like I was always on this destiny, and
Yes.
me giving my music up was something that was really important to do because I think I just needed to make that decision.
Yeah.
I
What's
haven't
your
made
what's your zodiac sign, by the way? Are you a
I'm a
Scorpio?
Scorpio. I'm a Capricorn rising, Pisces moon, Scorpio.
Me too.
I
Oh my
knew it.
God.
I knew it.
My youngest son is exactly that too. So I'm like, we're a lot alike. My youngest,
Honey,
Ooh,
I'm a
that's
but
Scorpio and so is
yeah,
Mary.
yeah,
We totally understand now.
totally.
yeah. So
Yeah.
I think that that's why I don't know, but I do know from working on a bunches of people and tuning in with these people that
Yeah.
there was something that was happening. And there was definitely what I noticed with clients that I'd work with was they all seemed to talk about an event that
Mhm.
occurred in their life at the same exact year that mine did, and that how
Wow.
it totally catapulted them into a different life, which was on a journey of spirituality.
Right.
And
Mhm.
so I was like, this is amazing because there was like a lot of us. And if we go back in time to probably find out the dates and times or with you guys, there was probably some shifts in your life at that time. But there were
Exactly.
major shifts. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
it's major. What happened to me was like completely one road to another road. And I would have never planned it.
Right.
Wow.
Right. Well, being
Wow.
a Scorpio is tough enough as it is because we are the type of people that we are. We're so multifaceted with the spirit journeys that we take and the things that we choose to do down through our lifetime, and then being very creative people.
Right.
And I get so many ideas. I get woke up in the middle of the night and sometimes I can't even sleep because my brain won't shut down and I'm thinking of things. Okay, what am I going to do next? Well, I could make this or I could create that or I'm going to do this and blah blah blah. All the things that keep us Scorpios up at night. So, girl, I feel you. Lived it all my life.
Yes.
Mary has too.
Now,
We're as far as the zodiac goes, I mean, every zodiac on there, they each have good things and bad things about them, just like Scorpios do. But I believe that us Scorpios are so much on a higher level as far as being multifaceted and picking and choosing things into the spiritual, the paranormal, and everything else. We're just out there, and some people can't take us as Scorpios. I've had a lot of people that don't don't care to be around me because I'll get these precogs or visions, and I will look at them and say, okay, I'm being told to tell you, don't go here this day. Don't at this time. If you have to go there, take an alternate route
Mhm.
and go another way to wherever you're going. And sure enough, I mean, they're like, okay, and then they'll go and they'll listen to me and take that alternate route to wherever they're going, grocery store, paying bills, whatever. And they will call me when they get back home and say, Sarah, you were absolutely right. There was
Yep.
a bad wreck that
Yeah.
diverted me from being right there at it or possibly in it because I listened to you and took an alternate route to where I needed to go.
Yeah.
Um, it,
You know,
it's
in
it,
the therapy part of it,
yes.
Mercedes, to get other people to listen to those hints,
Mm-hmm.
when their bodies are out of alignment,
Yep.
to get them to listen to those subtle things, those deep inner things. And I think that's part of that journey. And so the therapy, as far as you being a therapist for that amount of time, I still feel like that was still such a spiritual thing
Mm-hmm.
to help people get their bodies in alignment. I listened to the show with Anne that you just did recently,
Okay.
uh,
Yes, that
and
was a good one. Yeah.
She
and
was awesome. You should have her on your show.
We'd
well,
love to.
I
Yeah.
would love to. My degree is in nutrition,
Mm-hmm.
and I would absolutely love that. I listened to the show, and I'm like, that's spot on. That's spot on. I was like your cheerleader listening to this show.
Oh, thank
But
you.
but I was saying, I thought it was so good because you're bringing these things to the forefront, like the physical body and how much, we place a lot of importance on our spirit, being spiritual
Mm-hmm.
people,
Right.
but sometimes we neglect those physical things and those physical attributes that we should be,
Shoot,
because
yeah.
it all lines up. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
from your head to your toe, I mean, all of it.
Yeah.
The sisters and I have been talking about lots of classes, beekeeping and foraging and all the things. And I think all of that keeps the body, the mind, and the spirit healthy all together in alignment.
Oh
Mm-hmm.
yeah. I totally agree. And I think all those things, the beekeep, all the foraging, those are great because, you know, it's the world's a mess right now. So the better we can become, the keepers of our own health and the wisdom keepers of our own self, I think that is so important. And the reason I became that way wasn't just, oh, like la la la. It was because when I got in my accident, I had nothing. I couldn't work. I mean, I had no money. I had no support,
Yep.
and I mean, it was very bad time. And then when they wanted me to go to the doctor or whatever, I mean, I could barely get there. And then they want money, and so like if you can't work, so I understand what people go through. And so what happened is, once I started to heal and these things started happening, it was my mission to make
Yes.
sure that people realize that if I can heal myself, and I'm not saying
Yes.
I did it, but I did work to do it. I learned to sit. I was not a still person, probably with the Scorpio, all the stuff. I was very much an
Yes.
actress. Was
Yeah.
very much ego. I was very much in my head all the time.
Right.
So I have learned how to, and my spirit, that's why my company is called My Beautiful Spirit. So people are like, what
Mm-hmm.
is that?
I loved
Because
that.
she's my spirit, and I know who I am. I know where I'm connected, and I know because I didn't have that, and I found it. I found it all. And so for me, it's being able to help people understand
Yes.
that they can change their life and their reality just by sitting still and breathing. Like I was in so much pain, I couldn't even move. And so I learned to sit and do Qigong, basically, learned it on my own, how to breathe
Wow.
into my body and move my pain.
That's amazing.
And it
It
worked.
is. Wow.
So as the training went on and I kept getting, I mean, like the doctor, it was like Star Wars. Like he'd come in and we're like, people were like, what are y'all doing? And we're like, do you feel that over there? The right toe? Yeah, zip it over there to the leg, to the knee, to the cranial base is moving. I can feel all the bones. I can feel what's happening in the body. And so he and I worked as his team. And the thing is I never really told anybody because this was a medical facility. So whatever I did was all in this cocoon. And
Yes.
so I didn't go out like, hey, this is what I'm doing.
Right.
There's a lot of people in this town that would have almost, I don't know, they wanted that job. They wanted to work for him. And I didn't even know who he was originally. So I wasn't in this town before, I wasn't in this world that so there was a lot of, how did you get that job? How'd you get that job? I'm like, I don't know. It just happened.
You were meant to get that
You
job, baby.
exactly. This path. It was
God just
path.
put me in there and then I
Yes.
did the work.
Yep.
But so because of the way I've lived, the pain I felt,
Mhm.
the things I've gone through and financially, and I think that we could all do these things and instead of going to the doctors, we have to go to the doctors, yes. But one day, I think I said the other day on some show, is this one I just did the other day with Ben Emlyn Jones.
Yeah.
Like these people right now, they'll come into my work and I have a new space for over a year. I just go there a few days a week and I work on some of their clients. And then now my clients come there. But these people that are just kind of in the modern normal world, they are in the holistic world, they'll come in
Yes.
there. And so they'll have like these shoulders that are like, oh, my shoulder, the doctor says I got to get a surgery. And I'm like, I can see it, number one. And I'm
Right.
like, you just got fascia. Your fascia just needs to be unwound. And I'll do like all this stuff. And then, do the unwinding and do the thing. I don't talk a lot normally. If you're with me in a private session, I talk. But I keep it to myself and quiet what I got to do and talk to spirit. But then it fixes their shoulder. They'll come back and I can't believe what you did. And I'm like, nobody's doing this. Like, well, I mean, nobody probably is doing that I have ever heard of. I'm sure there are, but just the people have said that. But that to me, it shows us all that we can learn that. What I do is I've really learned to focus and let spirit and so people, spirit, well, okay, like I believe that everybody should believe we are spirit.
Yeah, we are.
We
We
are.
are. We
We
are.
are spirit, and our spirit is connected. And so that is the biggest part of us. That is the part of us that knows everything.
Mm-hmm.
So everything is a blueprint. It's our blueprint, and our spirit knows this. So we all can be, like, I don't know what that show was. I watched a little bit of the show that you're talking about that you guys had last week.
Mhm.
But I
Yes,
believe that there's other beings out there,
I do
and
too.
and I believe that there's all kinds of things that are
Yes.
trying to help us,
Yeah.
and from I believe in all these, there's dimensions right here. I live on a mecca place of all kinds of stuff on this property. So
Mm-hmm.
if that's part of really catapulted me in this property, catapulted me into the dark side.
Yep.
I say it was kind of like on the Kev Baker show one time. I was like, it was like I was in this little happy, I see animal spirits because I love animals. And I saw these happy spirits and they're all, oh, and then I met my husband. I met him and he was working at he was a part owner of a big haunted attraction here. And I really just wanted tickets for my son who was born on Halloween. And
Oh,
so
Yeah.
I started
yeah.
to work on him. I said, well, I'll work on you if I could get tickets. But it's like the second I started doing that and I started a relationship with him, or we started a relationship, was when I came out to the property within about 6 weeks. Oh my gosh. So it's like all of a sudden it started showing these darker stuff, like these things connected. And that's when it really took me on the paranormal into the real world of like, oh, there's some really bad stuff out
Yeah.
there, you
As I
know.
call it, the paranormal roller coaster.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was no
Yeah.
more like, oh, it
We
was
got
like,
two that joined
oh,
us, girls. Dottie. Hey, Dottie. We want to acknowledge you. Thank you for joining us. And Vanessa. She
Van-
said, hi, Mary.
Yeah. Yeah.
oh,
Van-
neat.
Thank y'all for joining.
Thank you so much.
Hey
Yeah.
girls, are you guys on a big computer? Each of you, and that way you can see the messages?
I'm on my
I'm,
cell phone. I
yeah,
couldn't
we're
get my
on.
tablet to work tonight. So
Okay.
I can see it on my cell phone.
Do you just push chat like it says chat down below, and then you can see people? Or
Um,
Not
you
sure.
know, I can't
I
answer
thought
that because I've never pushed that button.
oh yeah, well
Oh,
don't touch
we're
it
gonna,
then.
oh, you may push that button and we may find out what really was in Miami. Go ahead, push that button,
Yeah,
Mercedes.
right. I'm bringing it closer. Hi, Tim. Thanks for joining us tonight, sweetie. Appreciate it so much.
Linda jumped in there too, and Stephen Day.
Oh,
Oh,
awesome,
Stephen
you
was here. See, now
guys.
I didn't
Yeah,
get to see Stephen.
and Linda Johnson, she jumped in.
Okay.
Oh, that's so
Hi,
awesome.
Yeah,
Stephen. Hi, Linda. Welcome and thank you for popping in. Some we can see, some we can't. So please forgive us if we don't mention you or whatever. But Mary caught y'all, and I caught Dottie and
and
Tim
Vanessa.
and
Yeah,
Vanessa. So
yeah. So good to see everybody tonight. I miss
yeah, it
Vanessa.
is.
Vanessa was part of my team. She was part of the team that I had before, that I was part
Okay.
of before,
And it
and
was what was it? Midnight.
it was yeah, Midnight Paranormal Syndicate.
Okay.
And she worked, she made shirts for us, she made cups for us. Vanessa's an
Oh
amazing
boy.
individual.
Hey girl, we
So
got to get up with you because we need some shirts and stuff
we need
made.
some
So
swag.
yeah,
Yeah.
Mary will be in touch, Vanessa.
Wow, that's neat. That yeah, I like how you
Yeah.
guys are really putting the effort into the show, and I see you talking about it, and you've got sponsors, and I definitely think right now that this is the time. What I put a little ad out for sponsors,
Yeah,
so I mean I think that with us being able to be live and visually live, it just takes it to a different kind of element. We
it
It
can
does.
does.
It
I
does.
It does.
because I've
And
been doing this for it was definitely a year. So I started like last December or something, the one before that. And so we did, with the audio only. So this has been
Yeah.
fun to
right.
do into
This
it.
is a new forum here for us, and I'm
It's
absolutely loving it. Stan and Teresa have been working really diligently and hard to get the program and the media platform to where it is right now. And it's amazing. It's only going to get better from here.
I I love it
I
too.
love it.
Yeah, I love it. I love it as well. I mean, even though I have a face for radio, you know, but I do love it. But anyway,
Oh,
anyway,
with your
but
video
All of
on, it
this.
really,
Mercedes, you were going down a great road, and I'm sorry we started talking about some other things, but I wanted to ask you about Bill Bean.
Hmm. Thanks,
yeah.
His life
Vanessa.
story is so incredibly amazing, and I've watched it several times, many times. So, and I said he worked there at your property, didn't he? Or am I
Yeah.
getting this wrong? Or
Oh no, he was he I always give everyone credit that tried to help us. In fact,
yeah,
Yes.
we were on the Dead Files.
right,
And originally on the Dead Files, there was a whole different group of people that were like a few key people that were supposed to be that witnessed things and was a part of this. But we had so many rainstorm. We had this huge, like terrible storm, and it blew everything up. It just like the whole road was flooded. Amy's walk was like completely stopped, and everybody was stuck in the rain. And so like on this thing, it was just one of these journeys with the Dead Files that it was just heartbreaking at the end of what happened, what she said, which was never what I thought. Was like, you guys, I thought she could just fix it. Like, she'll get one of those clown people to come out or whatever they are. I knew she could fix it. But we went through this rain, we went through this stuff where we had to reschedule the walk and reschedule all the people, and they chose my family who was living here that had experienced stuff. So everything was completely different on the Dead Files if you ever watched that show with us on it.
Oh yeah.
But
Yeah.
we were told in that reveal, which I always think is, I always watch that show, right? And I remember coming out of the bed, the extra room we have, and there's Amy and Steve. And I'm like,
Oh,
Mhm.
wow.
well, I mean,
Yeah.
how surreal is that? It was like in my house.
Well,
So
it's
yeah.
strange that
So
you
for
mentioned the Dead Files, Mercedes, because actually Mary and I and Sandy, which is one of the other sisters, and another female that was on the team with us at that time, we actually went in behind Amy and the Dead Files team and had to do a case and a deliverance that she couldn't fix, and it was over in Sicily Island, Louisiana. And the episode, if you can find it, I can't remember which season it is, but the episode was
Is it?
called "Bent on Revenge."
It was season 2, episode 9, I believe.
I've
Okay,
probably
season
seen
two.
that.
Bent on Revenge was the one that we went in after. And girl, let me tell you, that thing was off the chain, off the chain. But we were
We
successful
Woo, it
in
was a hard. That was
removing the
Yeah.
spirit. Wasn't easy. Wasn't easy. That's another show that we'd love to bring you back on and talk about that. And you can put all of your knowledge into that and talk with us about it. But it was very scary, let me tell you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, so then you understand, like, so with people, when I counted, like, does she ever? It's
Yep.
rare that she does that. So
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
was like, my husband didn't even watch any of those shows, so he wasn't understanding. Like when I heard it, I'm just like, I started just pouring tears, or
Yep.
because I knew, like, well, oh my God, we're going to have to move, or what are we going to do? Like, it's trying to kill me. And I knew that. I knew it because during the show, like, that was like that week, I was told by a holistic doctor, he's like, you are septic. Like, I was septic, and my ileocecal valve was
Mm.
open, or something. And like, I was really, really getting sick. And that's when, we would go to this reveal, and they bring out this picture
Mm-hmm.
of this thing, which I had seen in my own bedroom, and I had my own drawings of it, which they had never seen.
Wow.
And
Mm.
the thing I thought was, I was tricked. I thought that thing was it looked like a wispy spirit, like a happy
Mm.
Oh,
wispy spirit, and it felt wispy. And
oh,
I was always thought, oh, how nice. Like, I never felt what it was doing, but that thing was plugging into my ileocecal, like right in the spot where the
wow.
doctor had just told me that this is where it's at. We got to work on that. He was a chiropractic too, but he was an intuitive. He
Yeah.
was an amazing older gentleman that was incredible. And he since passed on. But so yeah, so when the reveal showed that picture, like, I was shocked. I was literally shocked. So
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
let's just say that after they left, you know, it was hard. It was horrible. And I had this operation like a month after or so, in January. So it was a very rough thing. But we were having so many problems still. And so we were planning on, we were planning on moving, but then the pandemic hit. We had
Yeah.
the house up for sale.
Well,
And
Tim
then,
just come in and
yeah,
said, the Dead Files is my favorite paranormal show.
yeah, it was my favorite too.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
have TV I haven't had TV in a long time, but so if I watch anything, I'll, get it on the Amazon Prime and watch it. But we don't have TV.
Yeah.
But so it took another year of horrible, like, it just continued, and then I had family move in. So it was just me and Joe for the longest time. And then Mark and Tristan, they had a issue that they ended up having to move into the cabin, the haunted cabin, which
Oh,
I'm in
wow.
at this moment. And so then the other family came during the pandemic, and then they took up, and we were all in these houses, like small houses. So we started to build another tiny house so somebody else could have a space. But they were there was children spirits that would just show up all the time in the cabin,
Yep.
like
Wow.
like real people. And that's the thing, there's the children. There are so many children spirits. You'll hear them, like, knocking, or you'll
Mm-hmm.
hear them, their voices. You'll
Yep.
see them. I've seen children, like ghost children, like circling, and circling around by the big tree over here, which we call Mother Tree.
Yeah.
And so all of it really ended up when the Dead Files came, and she told us all this stuff, plus all the stuff she told us after the camera stopped. That was amazing, because they stayed like 4 hours. And she said, I will, like, in the show, it looks like, bye, we can't help you. They're not going to help you. Well, she continued to email with me, thinking that she was going to bring a team out to come back. And so I thought I still had hope, in January and February, I still had hope. There's a fly, that they were coming back. But the pandemic hit. And so everything was shut down. The show was shut down. She wouldn't go anywhere from that moment. So that was it. So I ended up finding some amazing, not so amazing, but amazing information out about a curse on this land, which I had always known it. She thought so too. And so I ended up finding this information out from way back in the 1700s, and how it occurred in this land. And so it was when I found that my whole family was just really, it was almost like they went on attack. They attacked all of us. All of a sudden my family was cut down the middle. My family was at each other's throats, everybody. And it was, this is my family. So if anything's going to hurt me the most, it's that. And so again, I was like, I feel like I'm going to die.
Yep.
I felt like I was going to die, really. And that was
up until
2020, not in the December of 2020. And that's when I tried to reach out on Facebook. Does anybody know where do I find an exorcist? So all of a sudden I started to look, and I called ones around here, but nobody would show up. Nobody would come. Nobody acted like they believed me. They were regular people, exorcists or priests here in Tucson and Marana. And so I found Dave Schroeder's. Dave Schroeder had a prayer list. I didn't know who he was, but Darkness Dave. And so I just I was intuitively guided to put my prayer on that. And that's what I did. And he was very nice and helpful to me. And he gave me another exorcist name in California. And at the time, I'm like, how in the world? Nobody can come here. I didn't know that they could do that without coming here. But so some lady messaged me, and she called me and said, you need to find Bill Bean. Call Bill Bean. And so I'm like, who's that? I didn't know he was on TV too, or
right.
So I'm like, so I messaged them, and right away, his secretary, her name's Melinda, she messaged me, and then she called me, and right away I just felt like somebody is not making fun of me. Somebody is believing
right
thing, and she understands. So right away I felt this, like, thank you so much for understanding me.
Yeah.
And so that's when she gave me these prayers. And so we were already doing the Lord's Prayer. In fact, we did that when the family started fighting, because if people would come in to the property, which we then, after Dead Files, we fenced our property. Before that, it wasn't fenced anywhere, and people were driving around looking for us. So I was like, what in the heck? So we did end up putting a fence around it. When you'd come through that gate, you could tell whatever came through the gate was like a mess. And so we enforced the rule for the Lord's Prayer in 2020 at our gate. Then of course I did all the spiritual stuff to it with the Native American. We did all of that. So I filmed everything that we did. I documented it all along my journey.
That's awesome.
And so we did everything. We had all these people come out. We've had shaman. We've had medicine men, medicine women. We've had Ho'oponopono, high up, amazing people, and just people on the phone would call us. People, a Cherokee medicine woman. She didn't come out, but she tuned in, and she saw these portals in the ground. And she saw spirits coming in and spirits coming out. She saw a bunch of children. so that were dead, that were like settlement children. And
Mm-hmm.
so every single thing that these people would say and do, it was like a big connection, but and sometimes some of the cleansings would work, but it would last like about 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And then something else would happen. And so that was when, it just, after the dead files, it was really hard because I wasn't in my element. I wasn't working. I wasn't in my safe cocoon in
Mm-hmm.
my little place where I worked on these people and I was really strong. So
Mm.
sometimes I'll post up from 2019 and I'm looking at myself, I'm like, oh my God, I was like powerful, but then in 2020, I'm like, I was losing it. I was losing uh who I was,
Yeah.
I was like being beaten down by spirit stuff. And it
Yes,
was
ma'am.
really bad. It was really bad, like trying to just crush me.
Mm-hmm.
But Bill Bean comes along, and it took me about 3 or 4 months before we actually did it. Because the prayers I thought were working. So I thought, well, we can't, he won't fly. He wasn't flying because of the COVID stuff.
Yeah.
So finally, I'm like, Bill, okay, let's do this. Let's just do a phone session. I'll do that. We'll do that. So the whole family, or not the whole family, only some of us, Joe, me, and other 2 family members, really just my son, one, so 3 of us were pretty much on board with that. But it was only, it was big. He did
Mm.
it all on the phone with Skype, and
Wow.
he
That's
helped.
crazy.
Like, it's just like the work, or like what you're doing. Just a minute ago you were tuning into me, right? Well, that's what I do. So I work remote view work, and I literally, I worked really hard to where I could do remote view instead of just being with the people doing a remote view, that I could step outside and work on people via my phone or whatever. So I gave that a chance for Bill because I thought, well, I do that. So
Mhm.
maybe, and it worked. He has something. He is really connected, and it was the words and what he said. It shifted Joe and I's relationship when our relationship was getting really bad then again. And so it just completely shifted Joe and I's relationship immediately. And
Yeah.
then the house was immediately changed. And it was like the land was split down the middle, basically, this side and that side. And this side, the people that were here, they didn't want to participate in that, and they didn't want that, so we couldn't force that clearing on them. And
Yeah.
it ended up that about, I think, a few weeks later, the one person, my son's dad, Mark, who wasn't really participating, um, he got stricken with some really crazy. He almost died over
Mm.
like some crazy bee thing. Just,
Wow.
it was almost like a major attack on him. It was like, so like, that is insane what happened. And he was all of a sudden in the hospital a week, so we were all thinking he was dead, dying, and it
Mhm.
was that close. But so we called Bill and we're like, Bill, like, if he makes it out of this, he has agreed to do a blessing or a deliverance on him, exorcism on him. I
Yeah.
kind of always call, I don't know, it's both, but it's not like in a movie, like it is kind of like that, but it's
Well,
not to the extreme of like the Exorcist movie. But you'll see pictures all in the documentary I'm making. I have some of these pictures and videos, but you'll see us all gathered in the main house, and Bill's right there with us on the Skype. And
wow.
we're doing the holy water, we're mixing the holy water, and he's talking and he's doing his thing. And and then Joe took over because he said that Joe needed to be the priest of the property, the man. And
Mm-hmm.
when
Yes.
and Joe really took that to heart. It was a huge change for Joe. So, like, when you see us, if you watch us on the Dead Files, there was some problems, and I was trying to tell everybody what I was seeing, and a lot of people are like, "Oh no," but I'm like, so I felt really validated.
Right.
They saw it too. It wasn't just me. It
Yeah.
was like all confirmed. And so it really helped with Joe to realize like, oh, okay, yeah, there's something going on. And
Mm-hmm.
really stepped into being stronger with me, connected with me. And then when Bill Bean came in, he really did. He really took on that role. And so we cleansed Mark and we cleansed the family again, the ones that would. And then on the third one, it took about, I guess, maybe 5 months to do the whole thing. But the people that were living here were able to get their own place. And so that was around the last weekend of very close to Hallows Eve. It ended up being that Bill Bean did this deliverance on like Hallows Eve. I think it was in 2022, I think, or 21. I can't remember, but I think 22. I don't remember. But oh, so I filmed that and I was walking around while he was walking around with this Skype thing. We're all doing this together and he's blessing things. And there's this thing when he finally comes into this room. Oh my God. Like all of a sudden, I watched it the other day. I'm like, wow, like you could see where it was like somebody was in front of my camera. Joe's over there holding the phone or whatever while Bill's talking.
Mm.
And you see my camera like somebody's in front of it. You know how the camera will go like that?
Yeah.
Because it's focusing. So you
Mhm.
see
Yes.
the camera focusing. And this thing that was in here, um, and all of a sudden Bill's it's like all of a sudden Bill's vocals when you listen to are gone on the last part when he's actually doing that last big part
Yeah.
of
Mhm.
this, which is and I'm like, oh my God. And then all of a sudden you hear it come back. But I was in here watching the whole thing and I saw what shifted in this area right here in this bathroom back wall
Yeah.
area where this little girl would always stand, and bad stuff would always be in this side of the house, really heavy. And so it was like it cleared. It was just
Mm.
gone. And so then he went outside because in the behind the house there was always this open portal type. I mean, I could see them. I drew them, and I'd see them all coming through the whole. Like I see portals, down this about 100 feet away. And I mean, it's in my mind's eye, but it's clear as bell that these black things were coming through these portals.
Yeah.
And
Of
I've had
course.
other people would see them too, like other people would that didn't even know us would come and look. Well, I see this, I see that. I'm like, well, yeah, we see that, or I've seen that. So he cleared all of the things, the house. So this the third time he cleared everything, the shop, everything got the blessings, and that was it.
That's
Wow.
crazy.
And
We started our life just began that day. It
Mm.
really,
and so the documentary is coming out in June?
well, I'm working on I'm hoping so what happened was like all of this evidence, as I started to research even before the pandemic or before the death files ever came out, it was a constant what is going on here. Like I was always like, what is so I was looking for answers. I was asking people what happened to this area. All people would tell me, or a lot of people have seen exactly what was seen in the dead files. These people would not come and talk about it though. I
Yeah.
usually like to
Right.
talk when I got my show. So a lot of them experience, but I did find many people that would talk. And so
Right.
last couple of years ago, I started, or I think it was last year, I started to film one of the ladies that owns a ranch, and God bless her, I just love her to pieces. So she's on one of these little it was one of my first ones where I went out and started to interview people at her ranch, her horse ranch. And she passed away end of last year. And she wanted to come back and talk more. And you girls would have loved her. Gina Sperry was her name. And but she is part of the documentary. So it was people that I found that had lived here that would actually talk on camera.
Yeah.
And so
Wow.
they all confirmed the same
Same thing.
stuff.
Mm.
Um, yeah, so but everywhere is haunted. Everywhere it has spirits. But it was, I don't know, the journey was about coming here and not giving up or dying, but I mean, I just felt as if the good spirits here, I always felt from the beginning like I was welcomed by these amazing land. Even though it was stark and had nothing on it, I felt like kindred spirit. In fact, I felt like I was home, like I'd been here before.
Yeah.
I really did. But then, then all of a sudden you're just in a battle and nobody could understand it except people so I'm really thankful for my paranormal friends now, the ones that understand me. And I'm thankful for the people with Bill Bean, because then I began my journey back to God and Jesus and all of that, because I was like one of those people that I went from being raised with my mom in church and doing the choir and all that. But when I had the accidents, I was really more in that holistic world. And there was a lot about our herbs, or like what you guys are talking about too. Like I use my crystals. I still have my crystals, but I put away my crystals and everything. I didn't work on people for over a year after what happened here.
Right.
Because oh my God, that's why I focused on the other stuff. I stopped working on people and I focused on, I just remembered that. That's why. Because I
true,
stopped
Kim.
working on the people because I didn't want anything to come back. I didn't want to have my family have that happen again. It makes me want to cry. I didn't want anything to happen to them ever. And then most of it was because I was able to see all this stuff. And so it was kind of like I was like an open person. So I had to learn what was it that Bill Bean was doing? How did he?
Yes.
So I took on to studying what he was doing and also how to edit. And so I took on that role. But so that's interesting to remember that. But I started working with like Warrior Mode. So I'm still there every Friday night. It's every Friday night, Warrior Mode. And I made all these friends with all these wonderful people on his show. And Bill is like he's like a really amazing, and I think he is a genuine person.
Absolutely.
He believes in what he's saying. He believes in what he's doing. And so then what the amazing thing was, he heard my music and I said, would you want to, he loved it. And so he ended up playing guitar of all things on my song. Like,
that's great.
My first song out was America. Then it's all about what's happening in America. It's called America. What's going on in America or something. I can't remember what it's called, but it's mainly America. And then the next one was A Better You, the Spiritual Warrior song, which I got.
Oh, I love that.
Because of Bill and becoming the spiritual warrior. I always felt like a spiritual warrior before, but then I really became like, they're all about warrior mode.
Right.
So I think right now I've come full circle, basically, because now I can work. I started working on people again, but now I have all of these things that I have in myself. So I know when something is yucky and bad, and I know how to say you're not allowed to be here, and really know, because people would tell me that all the time. But when Amy Allen says, it's bad like that and get out, well, you ladies know. I mean, this not, she said that it was really bad. Like it was like a curse so it was demonic. And it was also the Santeria curses, but it was layers through time. It was layers through, the Mexicans and their battles.
Generations.
And their battles, all of it interplaying in these, frequencies here. And I don't know. But Bill Bean, I think he's amazing. And I feel sad for people when they scoff at things like that. So now I'm on the other side where I understand like how people would be like, oh, I don't believe in Jesus and all that stuff. And I'm like, well, I've seen Jesus, and I had seen Jesus even at my other work. I'd seen, like, I believe it was Archangel Michael. So I saw, like, you see them or you feel them. and then and so I feel like whatever those were, but I literally I know that, when they come to you, I mean, I know it's what happened with us. How come that worked? How did that work when nothing else worked? So there's something more to this,
Oh
It
yeah.
is. Absolutely.
but we shouldn't just say, oh, you're a Christian, so I'm like, I totally understand
Excuse me.
both sides, right? We have
Right.
to understand all, but I believe we're all like, it's all intertwined, and this is why we're supposed to realize, like, they're all working together.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Really, we're all working together.
Yeah,
And
there's
I
a
love that.
network over there that they have a system that they go by, so to speak, and it either works if you're listening and your heart and mind is open, or if it's closed off, then you don't hear the message. You know,
And and
uh,
it's so strange. You Like I said, Mercedes, you don't know a lot about me personally, but the first time I saw Bill Bean on television, I like quite literally stopped. I heard his voice and I stopped and I turned and I looked at the television set and something just dropped in and said, this guy's okay. He's walking with God.
yeah,
mhm,
And I'm like, okay, you know, and I get those snippets like that
good.
um,
And that's,
about
yeah,
things.
exactly. And you know what's been really interesting about this whole thing with Bill Bean is, well, then he put us in his book. Like, we're in the new, he's got a brand new book. Apparently we're in that. I just ordered it, so it's coming. But we're in this amazing book, Bill Bean, is about his case files.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I would have never believed that we would. I mean, I would have never in a million years known all of this stuff was going to happen. Like, our
Yeah.
story was going to be really like this. I mean, I never thought we'd make it out of it, actually. But what's interesting is, through him, I met another. Because when I was trying to find help, I couldn't find an exorcist. I mean, I really couldn't. It was
Right.
just a miracle that God sent me Bill Bean.
Yeah.
But I, through Bill Bean's show in the Warrior Mode, I met Archbishop. You guys would love him too. Archbishop Ronald Enright, and he is the chief of the exorcists, and he's been doing this like 40 something years, and
mm,
he's the nicest man, and he's helped people all over the world, and he started the Order of the Exorcist, so all over the world he started a thing where people could network if they needed an exorcist there in a town in Colombia, or in Dallas, Texas, or away in Jamaica, or wherever. There would be somebody affiliated that they could call in that area, and he started that himself. And I've just call him my friend now, and I never would have expected that. And I
Right.
all of them. And I guess I was on their show. He wanted me to be on his first show. And then he called and said, well, can I use the Spiritual Warrior song as their intro?
Nice.
that's
And,
good.
oh, I know it. So
I
it went from,
love that.
Bill Bean has it playing on it. He used to have it playing all the time at the end. And then he when that ended, all of a sudden this one he called and had it come on. So it's like the song has a life of its own.
Mhm,
And
mhm,
it's just amazing the connections I've made. So I really do feel like, and I tell you what, people give these priests and stuff a bad name or different things, and I'm sure there's a lot of bad ones, but I have never met a minister or a priest that has ever been mean. In fact, I've met a lot of them are just loving and kind and caring. And I find that these exorcists are that way. They're just real people trying
mhm,
to help. And
Yeah.
so
yep,
I think it's really neat
And
that, in fact, I referred someone in Dallas that I found out was in Dallas and really messed up. And I thought, oh, they need help. So I called him and I said, could you refer a person to go and do an exorcism on him? And he did.
mm,
Did. So,
wow.
that's a
like,
good man.
And
you ladies could actually be a part of it, because if you're already doing that, they have a thing where you just connect. So like, if somebody's in your area, you're part of that.
Mhm,
mhm.
I'll send it to you, because if you've already been out
Yes.
there doing that, you're
Yeah.
already out and helped others in the battlefields, let's say.
And that's really why I got into the paranormal field. I wanted to help people, and I wanted people to know that there was a spiritual world, and that there were things happening to them. We used to talk about that, right, sister?
Yep.
And
Used
that
to talk about it.
we wanted people to know, that there was help for them. And, I thought it was really unique. You mentioned the different verbiage. The esoteric world might say exorcist, where, in the Christendom, we would say a deliverance. Or, we talked about the play on words there. As Christian, you might say you reap what you sow, or it's the law of reciprocity. And in the esoteric world, you say it's karma. It's the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
it's the same thing. Those words
Just
mean the same thing.
just
We
different
just
names for the same thing. Yep.
different names for the same thing.
Yeah.
And
So we all,
so
I mean, all just have to realize, like, I posed a question on Facebook the other day. Well, I posed one today too about the borders, but I just think that, so people will say, um, that the Christian part, oh, that doesn't matter, but I'm like, okay, so I was one of those people that was the last thing I went to look. That's the last thing we did. I could have looked for a priest way on earlier, but I was believing that I was going to do the Native American cleansing. I'm going to do this cleansing and that cleansing, and all these
Mm-hmm.
things, which actually work on a lot of people that I work with. Those
yes,
things actually work. Sage and Palo Santo, they work.
yes,
They
And
yes,
do.
salt, I
Yes.
use all these things, they work. But what happened here was, like, they worked for those things and they all calmed down the other parts of it. But whatever was here, it was like, haha, that doesn't work for
yeah,
me. I'm
right,
part of this team, and if so when Bill Bean used those specific words,
yes,
they were the key to stop it. They unlocked whatever the thing was, and it went through.
Yep.
You
words are so powerful. Our
it's
words are so powerful.
it is the words. It is the words. So everything, like, what I imagine you guys are like this too, but I have specific words I say. I have a specific way to make sure I stay safe now.
Yes,
People say stay safe, but
yes,
it's almost like a formula. And so that's what we do, and we know it works. And here it is, 2024. My husband's work is just, ever since that happened, like, we were always like feeling like we're struggling. We can't, it's nothing's working,
Yeah.
even though my work was working and I was doing great at work, it was like, that we weren't really, what there was so much stress and so much bad things. Nothing really worked when there's that. But then all of a sudden his work is blossoming, and my work is blossoming. Did y'all hear today? I couldn't believe it. I posted it right before the show, but I got a call while I was at work, from a client that I've been working with for several weeks, and all his family and people. And I'm kind of working with all of them, and they're asking me questions, and so far, I guess it's been completely accurate. Well, he called me today and messaged me, and he said, I want to hire you for every Monday. like a consultant.
Yeah.
wow,
And I'm like, wow. So I have that at my other job, but usually I work on people, like, I tell them, if it works, then you don't need to call me again. I
Right.
mean, you know
right,
what? If I'm always trying to save people money, or save people time, or whatever.
right.
So yeah, so I see it. I saw, like, oh my God, this is exactly what I've been, trying to set into motion. This is the world I want to be in. This is what I want in my life. This is how I want. And so it's all of a sudden, it's just like the door open, like, that's really what I wanted to do.
That's awesome.
So I think, I mean, I was shocked by that. I'm like, but then it felt right,
Mm-hmm.
like, it's right. I mean, like, Thank you.
You're in
Yes.
the right zone, Mercedes. You're where you're supposed to be at exactly in this point in time in your life. That's what I see, and it's only going to blossom even further from here. So we wish you all the luck in the world. Of course, that luck it's up there. It's high. I
Yeah.
feel the energy of it, don't you, sister?
Yeah,
I feel
absolutely.
the energy
I
of it.
think that she's walking in a blessing. I think that you're absolutely walking in a blessing, Mercedes,
Mhm.
and you're a very bright light in this world.
Yeah.
Oh,
Well, we had a couple of comments to come through that we didn't get to speak on or anything, but Tim had said it was great that he was able to close the portals. And then Vanessa had said something about that they had I think her father or somebody, if I can remember the text back.
There it is.
There it is. She said, my father, let me get back, let me get closer. Okay.
I
yeah.
can't
Oh,
see it at all,
no.
sister. So you're doing better than
Yeah.
me.
My
We're just,
father inherited General Sherman,
oh yeah, his sword.
Sherman's issued sword and
Yep.
powder horn,
Yes,
and much activity that
I remember that.
was attached. Energy was had no boundaries. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
people all over the world have spiritual and paranormal activity. They're having things happen that is driving them crazy, making them feel like they're crazy, and our philosophy was when Mary and I were together with the other team members on the team, we told them when we got a client that they're not alone, and
no,
we believe them. You know,
yes, absolutely.
when people don't have someone like that on their side, and they're throwing things out the window because they're saying, "Oh, this didn't happen," and we don't understand, and we just think that it's the medication you on. Sometimes it is,
Yep,
because we've had cases like that where people are on hallucinogenic drugs that these doctors feel like they need to be on, but for the most part, they're absolutely 100%
100%.
correct.
Yeah.
Things are happening. You
And
know
people's perception is their reality, and we have to
exactly.
get that in our brains that if they perceive it, they're seeing something. It might
Yep.
not be what they think it is,
Right.
but
Yeah.
their perception is their reality, and
Yeah.
that's what we wanted to do is just help people, and I
Yeah.
think that's what we want to do with the show. We want to,
Yeah.
engage
Enlighten.
people,
Yeah.
enlighten, engage people, let people enter into conversations or look at things from a different perspective, and
Yeah. Definitely.
yeah.
I always call what I'm trying to do a conversation because I want to have a conversation with people.
Yes.
A lot of times I
Yes.
don't really know much about them because I want to be like, wow, what's happening? It's kind of fun. I like that you guys actually studied who I was. That's pretty cool.
Oh yeah.
One
We
thing I was gonna
always do our research on nights that the sisters are doing topics themselves, or when we have our guest on. We like to read up on them so we know where you're coming from and we can iterate with you. And girl, let me tell you, I picked up on so many things with you tonight that
Oh,
is very
I'll
similar
be
to my
following you.
life.
It's gonna be scary. I'll be
Yeah.
following you, Mercedes.
Yeah. Oh yeah. We're gonna stalk you, girl.
oh no, that's fine. You guys are awesome. I'll be
Us
following
in our
you too.
beanies.
Oh, yeah,
Just
that was so
us
Yeah,
in
cute.
our
our
You guys
beanies.
with
We're
beanies.
gonna
your
stalk you
beanies.
in our beanies.
Well,
Well, I
I'm
do
gonna
want
get with you, Mercedes, and have you back on the show. If you don't mind, I'll get with you and go ahead and get you penciled in
Oh
for the
yes.
months ahead because we
yeah.
would love to further this conversation. We are over time, ladies.
Yes.
So
Oh,
Stan needs to get to bed we
oh,
need to end the
Stan.
show. But I want to have you back on and we need to continue this because this is only a small portion. I feel it in my heart and my soul that
Yes.
we can touch on with you. So we would love to have you back. Would
Thank
that be okay?
Oh yeah, I'd love that. Thank you so much. You made
Great,
me
great, great.
feel
Thank
so
you.
you made me
Yeah,
feel so good. Thank you. Good night,
you're
Stan.
most welcome.
Good night,
Um,
everybody.
okay, sweetheart.
She
We're
was
going to
saying good night,
close
Stan.
out with our sponsorship. Once again, thanking our producer, Stan and Teresa Fikes with Webb Radio Network. Thank you for everything you guys do for all of us who have podcasts with you. Thank you for our sponsors, Rogue Turtle. Go see Aaron in Enterprise, Alabama, 202 South Main Street, and also Camp 31, Adam Manasco. go up there if you're local and have a good meal.
Well,
Just
you know what?
amazing food. So
That
God
sounds.
bless you all. Thank
Oh,
you for listening in
Oh,
tonight. Thank
I
you
think
to the ones that actually typed in and put their opinions and stuff in. We love it. Bring more. Come on and bring more and join in.
I was.
Mercedes had one more thing she wanted to say.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
gonna say. So I have my show on the Web Radio Network, which I forgot.
Yes.
So,
Please
and I
do.
hope that you guys will come on that sometime.
Oh, we'd love to.
Absolutely. We would love to.
We would absolutely love to. We'll do it. We'll plan it. We'll get with you and make some plans for when all four of us sisters are together.
Okay, great.
And that way you get to meet the other two.
All right,
We're
awesome.
all right, girls. Love you guys so much. And
Love you
Mercedes,
too.
thank you again, sweetheart. I feel like you're one of the sisterhood already. So,
Started to say,
um,
I started to say,
yeah.
I just felt like good night, sisters.
That's exactly right. She's a sister, so she's part of the sisterhood now. She's
Yeah.
welcome to be with us and be on the show anytime. So, all right, sisters. Hold on. There's Tim. Let's get that real quick before we go. Enjoyable show, ladies. Oh,
Oh, thank you,
thank you,
Tim,
Tim. Thank you,
so much.
Sarah.
Oh,
Thanks,
okay. Oh,
Really
Sarah.
appreciate it, you
Thank you,
guys. Thank y'all
Vanessa,
so much.
Linda,
Come back and join
Stephen,
us.
Dottie, all of you guys.
Yeah, Stephen, Dottie, Vanessa, everyone that chimed in tonight. Thank y'all so much. Come back and join us next week and tell everybody about the show. Come join the sisterhood because we want you here. Okay. All right. Well, God bless you, girls. I love all three of y'all.
Good
And
night, sisters.
we
good
love our
night.
listeners. So God bless. Have a peaceful, restful night. And we'll see you next Wednesday. All right. Good night. Love you.